Chosen one, listen closely. This moment is not an accident. You did not stumble here by chance. Heaven has orchestrated this encounter, pressing pause on every distraction around you so that your spirit can finally hear the truth it has been aching for. You have passed the test. The test you did not even realize you were in. The sleepless nights, the disappointments, the rejections, the betrayals, they were not random. They were divine examinations, measuring the weight of your heart, your endurance, and your faithfulness. You thought you were being punished, but you were being proved. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but in reality, silence was the classroom of heaven. God was watching how you would act when no one applauded, when no one noticed, when the prayers felt unanswered. And chosen one, you did not give up. You kept walking. You kept breathing. You kept holding on, even when you did not know why. That is why I say with all boldness, you passed. Not everyone around you can see it. They judged you by your struggle, not knowing the test was never for them, it was for you. Others around you may have folded under the same pressure, but you endured. You thought you were just surviving. But the truth is, you were passing a test designed only for the chosen. Every delay, every door that refused to open, every friendship that fell away, it was all a part of it. You are not ordinary. That is why the road was not ordinary. Heaven does not waste its attention on those without calling. The fact that you went through so much is proof that there is so much inside of you. And now, beloved, you stand on the other side, not at the end of the journey, but at the doorway of revelation. Let me remind you of something eternal. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. Understand this, tests are never comfortable. They strip you down, expose your weaknesses, and reveal the core of who you are. You had moments of doubt. Yes, you had days where you wanted to quit. Yes, but you never surrendered your soul to the enemy. You bent, but you did not break. You stumbled, but you did not fall away. And that is why the Father whispers now, it is time to tell you everything. The world may not celebrate you, but heaven does. Angels rejoiced when you made the quiet decision not to give up. Heaven wrote down, the moment you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness. Your story is not one of failure, but of faith. That is the reason you are hearing this voice today, because heaven has declared it is time for your unveiling. But let me warn you, chosen one, passing the test does not mean the war is over. It means you are qualified for the next level of battle. It means your crown is prepared, and the weight of responsibility will grow. The world will need your voice. People will draw from your strength. Darkness will tremble at your presence. That is why the pressure was so heavy. You were being prepared to carry something others could not. So do not despise your scars. They are proof you survived. Do not resent the delays. They were protection. Do not curse the loneliness. It was sacred separation. God has kept you hidden for a reason. And now He is saying, step forward. My chosen one, the test is complete. And before we move further, I must ask something of you. If you know in your heart this word is speaking directly to you, do not stay silent. Testimony is a weapon. Agreement is a prophetic act. Right now, pause and declare your agreement. Share this message so others may awaken to their own calling. Like this word, so it may reach another chosen one who feels lost in their test. And most importantly, subscribe so you never miss the next revelation heaven releases through this vessel. You are not just consuming words, you are stepping into a movement. Beloved, as we continue, keep your spirit open. What is coming is deeper, sharper, and more revealing than you expect. You will see the patterns of your life align like puzzle pieces, and you will understand why certain doors closed, why certain people left, why certain prayers felt unanswered. The tests were not to destroy you, they were to reveal you. Now, stand boldly. Lift your chin. Heaven's eyes are still upon you, and your time has come. This is your confirmation. This is your unveiling. You passed. Comment below the prophetic number 777 as a declaration that you recognize this was your test and that you are stepping into divine completion. Chosen one, let us go deeper. You need to understand that not a single moment of your suffering went unseen. You may have thought no one noticed the nights you cried silently into your pillow. You may have believed that every rejection, every betrayal, every time you walked away from what you wanted, disappeared into nothingness. But heaven has been watching. Every sigh of your heart has reached the throne of God. Every tear has been counted. Every lonely step has been recorded in the book of remembrance. There were times you wondered, does God even see me? Has he turned his face from me? Yet, what you mistook as silence was actually observation. You were not being ignored. You were being watched over. Your life has been under divine surveillance, not for punishment, but for preparation. You have been the subject of heaven's focus, a living testimony unfolding before angelic eyes. Beloved, hear this. Heaven's watchful gaze is never casual. When God fixes his eyes on you, it is because you carry a purpose too great to be wasted. You have been like a seed buried in the dark earth, hidden, yes, but never forgotten, pressed down, yes, but not abandoned. Growth always begins unseen. Your hidden season was not neglect, it was nurturing. Consider this truth revealed through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 56, verse 8. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in bottle. Are they not in your book? Think about it. Why would the Creator of the universe take the time to notice your tears? Because those tears were prayers. Even when your lips could not form words, each moment you suffered with faith in your heart. You were aligning with heaven's design. You were proving that your trust was not in circumstances, but in the one who reigns above them. That kind of trust is rare, and it is the very reason you are counted among the chosen. And yet, I know the ache that still lingers in your heart. You wanted companionship, but often you walked alone. You sought affirmation, but the world handed you rejection. This was not punishment. It was a pruning, stripping away voices that would drown out the whisper of God. Had you been surrounded by endless approval, you might have missed his gentle call. Loneliness became the space where his presence was closest, even when you didn't recognize it. Chosen one, there is something powerful in knowing that the universe bends to witness your journey. Heaven's eyes have been fixed on you, not as a distant observer, but as a father who cannot look away from his beloved child. You may not have felt it, but you were carried through storms. Angels stood hard over your steps. Even in the valley of despair, your survival alone is evidence that you are wrapped in divine attention. Do not underestimate what this means. If heaven is watching you, it also means hell is watching you. Darkness observed your resilience and trembled. Every time you rose after being knocked down, the enemy was reminded that he could not extinguish your light. The warfare around your life has been so intense precisely because of the attention over your destiny, but through it all, you were preserved, chosen one. Your story is proof that God does not waste a single detail. That relationship that ended so abruptly, it was heaven protecting you from hands that could not hold the weight of your calling. That opportunity that slipped away, it was God steering you toward what was truly yours. That season where you felt unseen, it was heaven making sure no counterfeit glory would distract you from your true crown. Let this sink in. You are not forgotten. You never were. While others overlooked you, heaven celebrated you. While you doubted yourself, heaven affirmed you. While you carried shame, heaven dressed you in honor. So now, when you look back on the rejection, see it not as failure, but as proof of selection. When you look back on the tears, see them not as wasted, but as sacred. When you recall the loneliness, see it not as abandonment, but as divine intimacy. You are standing where you are today, because heaven's watchful eyes never left you. That gaze is what preserved you when you thought you would not survive. That gaze is what shielded you when enemies plotted your downfall. That gaze is what carried you when your own strength gave out. Beloved, breathe this truth in deeply. Heaven has seen you. Heaven has approved you. Heaven has declared you ready. And so, the story continues. You passed because heaven saw your endurance. You were noticed even when you thought you were invisible. And now, that same watchful gaze is turning into a spotlight. The world will soon see what heaven has always seen in you. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven no longer allows you to blend into the crowd. That moment has been happening in your life. Even if you could not name it, you have been separated, pulled away, detached from people, places, and situations that once defined you. And at first, it hurt. You asked, why did they leave me? Why did that door close? Why does nothing feel the same anymore? But this separation was not cruelty, it was divine surgery. God does not separate you because He dislikes you. He separates you because He loves you too much to let you settle. There are paths you could not walk while clinging to old connections. There are voices you could not keep listening to and still hear His. There are environments you could not remain in and still grow. Separation feels like rejection. But in heaven's language, it is redirection. Think of Abraham, called out from his homeland to a place he did not know. Think of Joseph, ripped away from family and carried into Egypt. Think of David, overlooked by his brothers, yet chosen by God, again and again. Separation is the signal that a chosen one is about to be elevated. The ground must be cleared before the new foundation can be laid. It was spoken in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Oh, do you see it now? The season where you felt stripped bare was not punishment, it was preparation. A tree does not understand the gardener's knife, but the gardener sees what the tree cannot. Likewise, you did not see what heaven was preserving you for, but heaven always knew. And here is something profound. Separation exposes truth. When the wrong people walk away, they are revealing what they were never meant to carry. When opportunities vanish, they are showing what was never meant to sustain you. When environments push you out, they are signaling that your roots outgrew the soil. What felt like loss was actually evidence of your increase. Chosen one, I need you to take this personally. Stop calling what God pruned away failure. Stop calling what left you abandonment. Stop mourning the seasons that ended. They ended because you passed. They ended because heaven knew you were ready for more. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's calling. But I know the silence of separation still echoes. Loneliness tried to convince you that you were forgotten. You questioned your worth when people you trusted turned their backs. Let me tell you the truth. Heaven hid you because you are too valuable to be mishandled. A diamond is not displayed on every street corner. It is kept under guard until the right moment. That is what God has been doing with you. Chosen one. You are being positioned. The separation was not to leave you empty, but to align you for the fullness of your assignment. You are being drawn out. Just as Moses was drawn out of the water set apart to lead, not to blend. You are not supposed to fit where you once did. Your spirit has outgrown those spaces. So let me speak prophetically. Do not chase after what God has cut away. Do not grieve over people who cannot go where you are going. If they left, it was divine. If it closed, it was holy. If it ended, it was righteous. God's plan requires a pruning, and your obedience requires acceptance. Now pause here. If these words are stirring your spirit, I want you to mark this moment. Type in the comments, I release them. Len, why this declaration? Because separation becomes bondage if you cling to what heaven already removed. By saying, I release them, you are breaking chains of regret and sorrow. You are agreeing with heaven's pruning, aligning your will with God's design. That short phrase becomes a prophetic act, a sword cutting the invisible ties that tried to hold you back. Do not underestimate its power. When you declare it, you will feel the peace of release rushing into your heart. Beloved, understand that release is not about hatred or bitterness. It is about trust. Trusting that God knows what He is doing. Trusting that if it was meant to stay, it would have stayed. Trusting that nothing taken from your life could ever compare to what heaven is preparing for you. So, stand tall in your separation. Wear it like a crown. Let the world see that your pruning only produced more fruit. Your testimony will not be that you were abandoned, but that you were chosen. And when the next chapter opens, it will be obvious why the last one had to close. Chosen one. Have you noticed that throughout your life you never truly fit in? You tried. You dressed like them, spoke like them, laughed at the same jokes, followed the same patterns. But deep inside, you always knew something was different. No matter how hard you worked to blend in, there was a restlessness in your soul, an inner reminder, whispering, you do not belong here. This sense of being different is not a curse, it is confirmation. You were never designed to be common. From the very beginning, heaven placed a distinction upon you. Your spirit carried a frequency others could not match. While they were comfortable in conformity, you felt the tug towards something greater, something unseen. something eternal. And yes, this difference has cost you. People misunderstood your silence, calling it pride. They misunderstood your vision, labeling it foolishness. They misunderstood your passion, dismissing it as too much. But what they could not understand was that you were not made from their mold. You were carved out by the hands of the Almighty, set apart for a work they could not perceive. Chosen one. Let me remind you, difference is the birthplace of destiny. If you were like everyone else, you would not be chosen. If you blended perfectly into the crowd, you would never rise above it. The very thing that caused you pain is the proof of your calling. What makes you strange to them makes you significant to God. Consider the ancient story of Noah. When the whole world laughed at the thought of a flood, Noah stood alone, hammering wood in obedience. His difference became his deliverance. Or think of Daniel, refusing to eat from the king's table, mocked for his choice, yet strengthened in his resolve. His difference became his promotion, over and over. The chosen ones of history were marked by their refusal to conform. This is why your journey feels heavier. You were born with spiritual eyes that cannot be blinded by the glitter of the world. You cannot find satisfaction in what others chase, because your appetite is for something higher. While they celebrate temporary pleasures, you are drawn to eternal truth. While they live for the applause of men, you long for the approval of heaven. It was spoken in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is the good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. This word has been living in you. You tried to conform, but your spirit resisted. You attempted to copy, but transformation kept pulling at you. You thought you were the problem, but in truth, your difference was the solution. And yet, I know the ache of being the outcast. It is not easy to carry a light that makes others uncomfortable. Darkness will always resist what exposes it. People will avoid you because your presence reminds them of what they refuse to confront in themselves. You may never receive their applause. But know this, you have heaven's attention. You are not different by accident. You are different by design. Chosen one. Embrace this truth. Stop apologizing for the way you are wired. Stop shrinking to make others feel safe. Stop dulling your flame to make others comfortable in their shadows. You are not here to blend in. You are here to stand out. You are not here to echo their words. You are here to speak heaven's message. Your difference is your weapon. Your difference is your mantle. Your difference is your crown. Those who misunderstand you cannot cancel what God ordained. Those who reject you cannot undo what heaven has written. Those who mock you cannot stop the unfolding of destiny. So the next time you feel the sting of being misunderstood, remind yourself, it is proof that you are set apart. The next time you feel isolated, remember, it is evidence that you are not meant for the crowd, but for the call. And the next time you question why you cannot settle for less, whisper to your soul, because I was never made to. Chosen one. The world does not need another copy. It needs the original, that is, you. That is why heaven kept you different. That is why you feel what others ignore. That is why you are restless where others are satisfied. Because you carry a mission only you can fulfill. Stand firm in your difference. Wear it as a mantle, not a burden. It is the mark of heaven upon your life. Chosen one. The journey of your life has not been gentle. You have been pressed, stretched, and broken in ways few can comprehend. You have walked through fires that seem determined to consume you. You have carried burdens that bent your back and pierced your heart. And yet, here you stand, not destroyed, not forgotten, but refined. This is the mystery of the crushing. It hurts, but it heals. It feels like death, but it births new life. Grapes must be crushed to release their sweetest wine. Olives must be pressed to yield their purest oil. Gold must pass through fire to shine with unclouded brilliance. You, beloved, have been through your crushing so that your essence, your anointing could be poured out. Your tears were not wasted. They were oil in the making. Your heartbreak was not pointless. It was the fire purifying the gold of your soul. You asked, why so much pain? But pain was the instrument in the hand of the Master, shaping you for purposes too vast to see at the time. Listen carefully. The reason your crushing was so intense is because your calling is so immense. Heaven does not waste this process on those with shallow assignments. Only the chosen are refined this deeply, because only the chosen are destined to carry such light into dark places. As was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10, Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Dumb. These words are not theory, they have been your reality. Affliction became your furnace, not to consume you, but to purify you. And now you emerge not as you were, but as who you were always meant to be, but chosen one. Let me speak with gentleness here. The crushing is not easy to process alone. When one carries the weight of transformation, it is like walking through a storm with no umbrella. That is why this space, this community, exists. It is an ark in the flood, a place where the voices of the chosen gather together, reminding each other that the fire does not burn us, it forges us. I want you to understand something. When you like, share, or subscribe to these messages, it is not about numbers or vanity. It is about extending the oil you have received to another weary soul. Every click is like passing the torch, lighting another lamp in the darkness. Somewhere, another chosen one is scrolling through their night of despair, and your simple act may be the spark that tells them, you are not alone. No, and yes. Some of you feel stirred to go further, to sow into this work, to donate. Let me speak plainly. Your generosity is not a transaction, it is a seed. Just as a farmer plants in faith, trusting the unseen soil to bring forth harvest, so your giving plants into the soil of souls. When you release a gift, no matter how small, it is like adding stones to a foundation upon which more voices can be lifted, more oil can be poured, more hearts can be restored. Think of it this way. You have been crushed like grapes, but your wine is now sweet. When you support, you are offering your cup to another who is still dry and weary. You have walked through fire and emerged as gold. When you share, you are handing a piece of that gold to someone who thinks their ashes are the end of their story. Do you see? You are not just a listener, you are a builder. You are not just a receiver, you are a giver of life, of hope, of truth. And so, I ask you sincerely, if these words have touched your soul, extend the touch to someone else. Like this message, so it does not end with you. Share it so another chosen one can be reminded of their worth. Subscribe so you stay aligned with the flow of revelation. And if the Spirit nudges you to give, do so, not out of pressure, but out of love, because love is the fragrance of the crushed flower, still giving beauty even after being broken. Chosen one. The crushing was never in vain. Every wound became wisdom. Every scar became a map of survival. Every broken piece became part of the masterpiece. Now, the world does not just see your suffering, it sees your shine. And through your obedience, others will find strength to endure their own refining. So stand boldly in this truth. You were crushed, but you were not destroyed. You were pressed, but you were not abandoned. You were refined, and now you are ready. Chosen one. There is something heaven wants you to know. You are marked. This mark is invisible to human eyes, yet undeniable in the spirit. It is not a scar of shame, but a seal of glory. It is the signature of God stamped upon your soul, declaring to the heavens and to the pits of darkness alike, "This one belongs to me." You have wondered why certain rooms felt uncomfortable, why certain people avoided you, why enemies seem to rise without reason. It is not because you are cursed. It is because you are marked. Darkness can sense it. The enemy knows you are untouchable in ways even you do not yet fully grasp. That mark has drawn battles toward you, but it has also shielded you from destruction. Think of Israel in Egypt. The lamb's blood marked the doors of God's people. Death passed over, not because they were strong, but because they were sealed. You, beloved, walk with a similar mystery. The enemy has tried to reach you, but your seals said, "Not this one." The accidents that should have ended you, the traps that should have ensnared you, the betrayals that should have shattered you, they all failed because heaven had already declared ownership. It is written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13, "When you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit." Oh, this is not poetry, it is reality. The Spirit within you is the eternal evidence that you are chosen, sealed, and destined. Even when you doubted, even when you strayed, that seal remained. It whispered when you tried to run. It burned when you tried to compromise. It lifted you when you tried to sink. Chosen one. The mark of God upon you is not just protection, it is identification. In the unseen realm, you shine like a blazing torch. Angels recognize you. Demons fear you. You carry a glow that cannot be imitated or fabricated. This is why counterfeits cannot cling to you for long. This is why relationships that were not aligned eventually broke away. The seal exposed them. The light revealed them. The mark defended you. But let me tell you something deeper. That mark comes with weight. To be sealed by heaven means to be claimed for service. You are not your own anymore. You belong to the one who marked you. That is why compromise feels heavier for you than for others. That is why sin never tasted sweet for long. That is why disobedience burned your spirit. Even when others laughed without guilt, you are too marked to wander freely in the wilderness of the world. Heaven has already chosen your path. Do not despise this. Do not treat it as burden. Your mark is your inheritance. It is your shield, your banner, your crown. You are recognized in the spirit world as one who carries divine ownership. That is why your prayers shake rooms, even when whispered. That is why your presence shifts atmospheres, even when you say nothing. That is why your life has been preserved through storms that destroyed others. Chosen one. Let your heart be at peace. The battles you face are proof of the seal you carry. If darkness fights you this hard, it is because you shine too bright to be ignored. And if heaven has marked you, nothing in earth or hell can erase it. Now pause here. I want you to mark this revelation not just in your heart, but with a prophetic act. Write in the comments, 444. Why this number? Because 4 is the number of foundation, of stability, of God's order established in creation. By typing 444, you are declaring, I am sealed. I am stable. I am grounded in God's order. I will not be shaken. This is not superstition, it is agreement. Heaven responds to declarations, and your act of faith will echo louder than your doubts. Beloved, remember, the mark on your life is not a brand of limitation, but a crown of belonging. It is why doors will open for you that remain locked to others. It is why you will find favor in places where no resume or recommendation could carry you. It is why, when you walk into rooms, unseen powers bow without you even speaking. This is the mystery of being chosen. You may look ordinary on the outside, but in the spirit, you are radiant with an undeniable seal. And this mark will carry you into places you never imagined. It will silence enemies. It will summon allies. It will open pathways. It will keep you when your own strength falters. So stand tall. Chosen one. Walk boldly. You are not unclaimed. You are not forgotten. You are not wandering nameless through this earth. You are sealed, identified, and marked by heaven itself. Chosen one. What you have lived through was never random. The battles you fought in silence, the wars no one else even knew existed, were not wasted. They were your hidden training grounds. While others saw only your smile, your laughter, or even your weariness, heaven saw your private struggles, the nights you wrestled with doubt, the mornings you forced yourself to rise again, the inner storms that raged while the world thought you were calm. Training is rarely announced. A soldier does not enter battle without first being drilled in private, without sweat and scars behind the curtain. You, beloved, were being prepared for assignments larger than your current surroundings. Every sleepless night, every unanswered question, every temptation resisted in secret. These were lessons, shaping you into the vessel God intended. Look back with spiritual eyes. Can you see how every hardship sharpened you? Rejection taught you to lean on God's approval, not man's applause. Loneliness taught you to hear heaven's whisper in the quiet. Betrayal trained you to forgive without bitterness, to love without expecting return. Poverty, lack, or limitation shaped you into someone who trusts provision that flows from above, not from human hands. Even heartbreak taught you to carry compassion, to understand the pain of others, to minister healing not just with words, but with wounds that testify. This is why you could not quit. The training was hard, yes, but it carried purpose. Arana may collapse during practice, but it is the grueling training that ensures victory on the track. You may have felt broken in your wilderness, but that wilderness was your academy. The Spirit was your instructor. The Word was your textbook. Pain was your tutor. It was written in the book of Hebrews. Chapter 12, verse 11. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. These words are carved into your life. What once only felt like affliction has already begun to produce a harvest in you. You are wiser, stronger, calmer in storms. You have peace that defies logic, discernment sharper than before, courage that surprises even yourself. Chosen one. Recognize the pattern. God always hides his greatest warriors in training before unveiling them. David's battlefield began not with Goliath, but with lions and bears in solitude. Moses learned the discipline of silence in the desert before facing Pharaoh. Even Jesus spent years in obscurity before the heavens thundered at his baptism. In the same way, your hidden battles were rehearsals for the victories yet to come. Do not despise this season. Training is proof of calling. If you were unmarked, heaven would not invest so much in shaping you. The crushing, the stripping, the stretching, they were sculptor's tools, chiseling away what could not remain. And though the process felt endless, it was never aimless. And here is something you must not miss. Your hidden training is also your hidden protection. Had you been revealed too soon, you would have been exposed to attacks you were not ready for. But heaven, in mercy, kept you in the shadows until your armor was fastened. What you thought was delay was actually defense. Look carefully, and you will see. The skills you carry today, the resilience, the wisdom, the patience, all trace back to moments when you were alone with God. You did not simply survive trials, you were equipped by them. That is why you are dangerous to the enemy. You are not naive. You are not untested. You are a seasoned warrior, trained in silence. Now, ready for the stage of destiny. And yet, even now, some of your training continues. Do not grow weary if you still feel hidden. The deeper the call, the longer the preparation. A quick spark burns fast and dies. But an eternal flame takes time to kindle. You are being made into a flame that will not go out. Chosen one. Let these words settle into your heart. Your training is sacred. Do not compare your path with others who seem to move faster. Their journey is not yours. Their assignment is not yours. Some are called to carry lanterns. You are called to carry a torch. And torches are forged in greater fire. So, walk with dignity, even in obscurity. Heaven is watching your endurance. Just as soldiers are observed in camp before battle, angels record your faithfulness. The Spirit strengthens your hands, and soon the trumpet will sound, and what was hidden will be revealed. Until then, do not despise the drills of pain, the exercises of silence, the lessons of tears. These are not wasted. These are weapons in the making. You are in training for victories far beyond your imagination. Chosen one. Let us speak plainly now about the resistance you have faced. You wondered why so many people turned against you without reason. Why certain voices mocked or opposed you when you meant no harm. You could not understand why the moment you stepped toward your destiny, waves of opposition rose up like a storm. Let me tell you the truth. Your enemies have confirmed what heaven already declared. You are chosen. If there were no weight on your life, there would be no war over it. If there were no crown prepared for your head, no resistance would bother to rise. Darkness does not waste energy on the insignificant. Hell only rages against what threatens its grip. That is why your very existence seemed to attract battles. But pause for a moment and see the pattern. From your childhood, you may have felt misunderstood, even within family. There were moments when jealousy or tension tried to silence your voice. In friendships, betrayal taught you hard lessons. In work, doors slammed that seemed unfair. These were not coincidences. They were signals. The more resistance you faced, the clearer it became. You carry something the enemy fears. Think of Joseph. Wearing the coat his father gave him, his brothers hated him not because of what he had done, but because of what he represented. His dreams were too large, his calling too radiant for them to bear. The pit, the false accusations, the prison, these were not failures. They were confirmations. Every enemy that rose against him unknowingly pushed him closer to his throne. So it has been with you. The betrayals that wounded you also confirmed the purity of your heart. The false accusations that stung revealed the enemy's desperation to tarnish your name. The gossip, whispered behind your back, showed how bright your presence burned. They could not stop your destiny, so they tried to distract you from it. But chosen one. The truth is, you were never alone in these battles. Heaven stood witness, and heaven fought on your behalf. If your enemies had their way, you would not be here reading this message. Their resistance was real, but so was your preservation. Every time they planned your downfall, heaven wrote your comeback. It was proclaimed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord. Indra, this is more than a verse. It has been the anthem of your life. The weapons were formed. You saw them clearly. The tongues did rise. You heard them loud and cruel. Yet none of them prospered. You are still standing, breathing, moving forward. A living testimony that heaven's word is greater than any enemy's curse. Here is the deeper revelation. Your enemies, without knowing it, have served your destiny. Just as Pharaoh's hardness of heart created the stage for Israel's deliverance, so the opposition in your life created the platform for your rising. What they tried to bury only became seed for greater growth. What they tried to silence only sharpened your voice. What they tried to block only redirected you to the right doors. Chosen one. Do not waste your energy in bitterness. Bitterness chains you to the past, while destiny demands your eyes fixed forward. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you cannot afford to carry poison into your promised land. Every enemy was part of the curriculum. Every battle was a training ground. Every resistance was a mirror reflecting your significance. So the next time you ask, why do they fight me so hard? Remember this answer: because you are chosen. Light does not enter a room without shadows fleeing. A crown does not rest on a head without opposition rising to snatch it. Glory is never birthed without struggle. Instead of seeing your enemies as obstacles, see them as confirmations. They have announced your calling more loudly than friends ever could. Their jealousy has testified to your favor. Their opposition has highlighted your assignment. Their resistance has built your resilience. And here is the most beautiful truth of all. Your enemies cannot write your ending. Only heaven holds the pen. They may try to delay, but they cannot deny. They may attempt to wound, but they cannot destroy. The mark of God upon you ensures that what was meant to harm you will be turned for your good. Chosen one. Wear this confidence like armor. When resistance rises again, and it will, do not panic. Do not shrink. Stand tall, remembering that every arrow aimed your way has already been accounted for in heaven's plan. Your survival is not a question. Your victory is not in doubt. Your enemies have already confirmed it. You are chosen, and nothing they do can unmark you. Chosen one. Let us speak about something very personal, something you have carried quietly for years, deep within you. There has always been a voice. Sometimes it was gentle, like a whisper brushing across your spirit. Other times it was firm, almost like a fire that refused to be ignored. And though you doubted it, though you questioned if it was simply your imagination, it was the Lord guiding you. There were moments you felt confused, lost in the maze of decisions and crossroads. Yet, even in your uncertainty, there was a nudge. Go here, not there. You did not always understand why, but later, when you looked back, you realized that the whisper saved you. It kept you from dangers you could not see, from traps you did not know were laid for you. At other times, the voice stirred conviction in you. When others rushed freely into compromise, you could not. Something inside burned. You tried to silence it, but the still small voice would not leave. That was heaven's seal within you, refusing to let you wander too far. It was not condemnation, it was protection. The shepherd's call does not scold to destroy, it warns to save, as was spoken in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27. My sheep listen to my voice, I know them. They follow me. You have lived this verse without realizing it. You recognize the voice even when you doubted it. And the proof is this: you are still walking, still alive, still seeking. Sheep that ignore the shepherd are lost. But you, though bruised and weary, have followed. Chosen one. Understand the significance of this. God has not been distant from you. He has been speaking, guiding, leading, even in the silence. Sometimes his voice came through scripture, jumping out of the page as if written only for you. Other times it came through dreams that lingered longer than sleep. Sometimes it came through sudden clarity, an inner knowing you could not explain. And yes, sometimes his voice came through closed doors, unanswered prayers, and redirections that made no sense until later. The enemy tried to confuse you, whispering lies louder than truth, trying to convince you that God was absent, but you could always tell the difference. The enemy's voice brought fear and shame. God's voice brought peace. Even in correction, the enemy's voice rushed you into panic. God's voice invited you into stillness. The enemy's voice drained you. God's voice restored you. This is the reality of being chosen. Your ears are tuned to a frequency others cannot hear. What feels like conflict inside of you is really discernment being sharpened. What feels like confusion is actually the shepherd teaching you to distinguish his call. You have been trained by whispers, shaped by nudges, guided by quiet urgings that others ignored. Think about the times you almost made decisions that would have destroyed you. You felt the unease, the discomfort, the sudden hesitation. That was not weakness, that was God's voice. Think about the moments when you had no plan, yet somehow the right words flowed, the right doors opened, the right people appeared. That was not coincidence. That was God's voice ordering your steps. Chosen one. You must begin to trust that voice now more than ever. The next chapters of your journey will require sharp discernment. Crowds will shout their opinions. Culture will push its agendas. Even friends may pull in directions that feel appealing but are wrong for you. Only the shepherd's voice will keep you steady in the storm. And this is where I want you to pause. Breathe. And mark this truth with a declaration. Type in the comments, I hear him. Oh, why this phrase? Because it is more than words, it is agreement. You are telling your soul, your spirit, and even the powers of darkness, I am not deaf. I am not lost. I am not abandoned. I hear my shepherd, and I will follow. When you write it, you silence the lie that says you cannot hear God. You remind yourself of the truth that His voice has been guiding you all along. Beloved, hearing God is not about perfection. It is about relationship. Children recognize their parents' voices, not because they study sound waves, but because of time spent together. You know His voice because you are His child. Even when you doubted, even when you resisted, the bond could not be broken. That is why conviction always pulled you back. That is why hope always returned after despair. That is why the shepherd's voice continues to echo in your soul today. So as you move forward, trust the whispers. Trust the fire that burns quietly in your heart. Trust the peace that lingers when you are aligned. The shepherd does not lead his sheep into harm. He leads them into life, abundance, and destiny. Chosen one, do not doubt it any longer. The voice within you is real. It has saved you, guided you, corrected you, and carried you this far, and it will carry you the rest of the way. Chosen one, you carry something far greater than you have realized. When you step into a room, atmospheres shift. People may not always understand why, but they feel it. Some feel comfort around you, as if a cool breeze has entered their soul. Others feel unsettled, because the light you bring exposes what they would rather keep hidden. This is not arrogance. It is the mantle of authority upon your life. You have walked through enough fire that you no longer bow to every storm. Your spirit has become seasoned, your faith tested, your patience stretched, and now you walk with a weight that is not of this world. This weight is heaven's mantle, an invisible garment of spiritual authority that rests on your shoulders. Think of Elijah, draping his mantle upon Elisha, symbolizing transfer of power and purpose. Think of Esther, standing before a king with favor so great that her voice shifted the fate of her people. Think of Peter, whose very shadow brought healing to the sick. These were not ordinary men and women. They carried mantles. And so do you. It was spoken in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. I have given you authority to trample snakes and scorpions, overcome power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. This promise has been stamped upon you. Your mantle is not for decoration, it is for warfare and for building. It is not just for you, it is for those who will be set free through your obedience. But, chosen one, carrying a mantle is heavy. Authority does not come cheaply. It has been forged through your tears, your losses, your prayers whispered in exhaustion, It is like carrying a torch through the rain. You had to shield it, protect it, fight to keep it alive. And now that flame is ready to be lifted high, lighting the way for others lost in the dark. And here is where I speak to you sincerely. Messages like this, spaces like this, are not built on empty air. They are like wells in the desert, carved for weary travelers to drink. When you like, share, and subscribe, you are not boosting an algorithm, you are widening the well, ensuring more thirsty souls can find water. Think of it as planting signposts on the road, guiding others who are stumbling toward hope. And for those who feel stirred to donate, understand this: your gift is not payment, it is partnership. Imagine a lighthouse keeper. The flame he tends guides ships away from rocks and into safe harbor. But the oil that feeds the lamp does not appear by magic. It comes through the hands of those who understand the importance of the light. When you give, you are pouring oil into the lamp, ensuring that this flame keeps burning for countless others still searching through their storm. Do not underestimate the impact of even the smallest act. A single seed planted can become a tree that feeds generations. A single drop of water can ripple across an entire lake. Likewise, your simple gesture of sharing, your quiet act of giving, your humble click of agreement, these are seeds sown into eternity. They expand the reach of the mantle, so more lives are touched, more chains are broken, more chosen ones awaken to their calling. Beloved, your mantle is not only for personal victory, it is a mantle that multiplies, that awakens others, that builds bridges and tears down walls. Every time you walk in obedience, the ripple effect touches more than you realize. That is why the enemy fought you so hard. He knew the mantle you carry is contagious. One spark from your life can ignite fires across nations. So do not carry your mantle with fear. Carry it with humility and courage. Do not shrink back from the authority that has been entrusted to you. The world is starving for authenticity, for voices that carry weight, for lights that cannot be dimmed. And you, yes, you are one of those voices. And if this space has been your reminder, your confirmation, your spark, then do not hold it to yourself. Partner with it. Share the oil. Pour into the well. Let others drink as you have. Heaven honors every act of agreement, every seed of generosity, every echo of obedience. Together, we build not just platforms, but altars, places where God's presence rests and countless lives are transformed. Chosen one, the mantle is upon you. Walk in it boldly. Wear it with reverence. Use it to set captives free, to heal broken hearts, to restore the weary. And know this: the flame you carry is not fragile. It is eternal, and it will burn brighter as you continue to pour out what was so faithfully poured into you. Chosen one. Let us turn now to one of the deepest mysteries of your life, the chains you were born into, and the chains you have broken. For many of you, the struggles you carried were not entirely your own. Some of them came before you, passed down like shadows through generations, patterns of pain, cycles of addiction, threads of fear or anger. These were not coincidences. They were generational chains, seeking to bind you as they had bound those before you. You may have noticed it. The same poverty that haunted your family tried to touch you. The same broken relationships, the same sickness, the same unspoken heaviness It followed through bloodlines, whispering that you too would be caught in its net. And yet, here is the truth. You were raised up to be the breaker of those chains. Heaven set you apart, not only for your life, but for those who would come after you. It was declared in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm. Then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. This freedom is not just for your soul, it is for your lineage. You are the one chosen to end what enslaved those before you. You are the one who said, "No more," when the cycle rose up against you. You are the one who prayed when no one else prayed, who resisted when no one else resisted, who stood when everyone else bowed. Understand this. Breaking chains is not glamorous. It feels like warfare because it is warfare. It feels unfair because you are fighting battles your ancestors could not. But heaven entrusted you with this burden because heaven knew you could carry it. You thought you were weak, but the strength of generations was placed within you. That is why your life has been so hard, not because you were cursed, but because you were called to break the curse. Look back and see it clearly. The temptations that almost swallowed you, the ones that others in your family fell into you, resisted, the despair that wanted to end your story you survived, the lies that tried to convince you that you were just like everyone else, you refused to believe. With every no you declared in the Spirit, another chain cracked. With every tear you cried out to God, another lock was loosened. With every step you took in faith, another shackle fell away. And now, chosen one, you must realize what you have done. You are walking in a freedom your bloodline has never known. You are pioneering a new path. A road not paved by history, but carved by obedience. The children after you will not carry what you carried. The family around you will witness that the curse did not win. Generations yet unborn will thank you for the battles you endured, because you changed the story. But do not think the enemy gave up easily. Chains do not break quietly. They rattle. They fight. They resist. That is why your warfare has been so loud. That is why temptation has circled you so often. That is why discouragement has pressed so heavily. The chains sensed their end and clung tightly. But heaven's fire in you burned hotter than their grip. And here is something beautiful. Your scars are proof of your victory. The enemy wanted you to be ashamed of the battles you fought. But those very wounds are evidence that you won. Chains do not leave without a struggle, and the marks they leave behind become testimonies that others can follow. You will tell your story one day, and it will break chains in those who hear. Chosen one, you are a pioneer. Pioneers are lonely because they walk where no one else has walked. They bleed because they cut through ground untouched. They cry because they feel the weight of generations pressing against them. But pioneers also rejoice because they see the sunrise in lands no one else has seen. That is you. You carry the dawn of a new legacy. Do not fear what remains ahead. The heaviest chains have already fallen. What lingers now are remnants. Weak links already doomed. Your obedience has already shifted the atmosphere. Your life has already announced to heaven and hell alike. The cycle is broken. So, walk forward with your head lifted high. When you see patterns rising again, do not tremble. They are echoes, not realities. The true weight has been shattered. You stand in freedom. You stand in authority. You stand as a breaker of chains, a restorer of paths, a builder of new foundations, chosen one. This is your inheritance, freedom for yourself, freedom for your bloodline, freedom for all who will be touched by your testimony. You are not just surviving your story, you are rewriting it, and the ink of your obedience will be read for generations to come. Chosen one, you have walked through shadows, but now you are approaching a season unlike any before. The weight of obedience, the years of silence, the sacrifices you thought no one noticed, all of it has led to this moment. The crown awaiting you is not a fairy tale. It is the reality of reward. Heaven does not forget faithfulness. God does not ignore perseverance. Every step you took against the current has been building toward your unveiling. For too long, you thought your life was only about survival. But survival was the soil in which your crown was planted. The crown is not just about honor, it is about responsibility, about authority, about destiny fulfilled. When a soldier returns from war, the medals on his chest are not decorations, but acknowledgements of battles survived. So it is with you. Your crown is not empty beauty. It is the mark of battles won, chains broken, and destinies shifted. It was spoken in the second letter of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. This is not a distant promise. It is for you. You persevered under trial when others gave up. You stood when the winds screamed for you to fall. And now, the Lord himself prepares to place upon your spirit the crown of life, evidence that you endured, evidence that you are chosen. But let us be clear, a crown is not only for heaven's courts. Crowns manifest on earth in ways you will soon see. The crown of peace after years of turmoil, the crown of favor in places where you were once rejected, the crown of influence in spaces where your voice will finally carry weight, the crown of restoration, where what was stolen will return multiplied. You are stepping into a season where your scars will shine as jewels, and your tears will glisten as diamonds. Yet remember, chosen one. A crown is not only privilege, it is weight. Kings and queens are not crowned for their beauty, but for their ability to bear the responsibility of nations. Likewise, your crown signifies that you are ready to carry more than your own story. You will carry others. You will speak words that heal wounds, release breakthroughs, and awaken faith. Your life will no longer be just about your journey. It will become a map for those who are still wandering. Do not shrink from this. You were trained for it in silence. You were tested for it in fire. You were prepared for it in isolation. The season of hiding was your preparation for the season of reigning. And now, heaven says, wear the crown. Think of Joseph, once shackled in chains, later crowned with authority in Pharaoh's palace. Think of Esther, once hidden, later crowned queen to save her people. Think of David, overlooked in the fields, later crowned king of Israel. Each crown came after seasons of pain, yet none of those seasons were wasted. So it is with you. And now, pause with me for a prophetic act. Declare your readiness in the comments by writing 888. Why this number? Because 8 is the number of new beginnings. And your crown is the beginning of a new era in your life. By typing 888, You are declaring that you step out of cycles of survival into seasons of reigning. You are aligning yourself with heaven's timing, saying, I receive my crown, and I walk in my new beginning. Beloved, the crown is not an end, it is a doorway. It is the sign that the old chapter has closed and a new one has begun. You will see it in your relationships, where respect replaces dismissal. You will see it in your work, where open doors replace closed ones. You will see it in your spirit, where joy replaces heaviness. So do not doubt when the shift comes. Do not question when honor arrives in places you were once overlooked. Do not fear when your voice suddenly carries authority. These are not accidents, they are crowns, placed by heaven, revealed on earth. Chosen one. Lift your head high. Your season of hiding is closing. Your season of reigning is opening. The crown of life, promised long ago, is being placed upon you. Wear it with humility. Carry it with courage, and let it shine so brightly that others will see and know. This is what it looks like when the chosen endure. Chosen one. Your life has always been larger than you realized. You once thought your struggles, your victories, and even your calling were just about you and the small circle around you. But heaven never designed your journey to remain limited. What has been planted in you was always meant to ripple outward, touching not only your family or your city, but nations. Your assignment is global. Perhaps this feels overwhelming. You ask yourself, how could someone like me impact nations? You see your flaws, your scars, your history, and you doubt. Yet remember, God has always chosen unlikely vessels to carry his greatest missions. Moses stuttered, yet his voice shook empires. David was a shepherd boy, yet his songs became the heartbeat of Israel. Mary was a young woman in obscurity, yet she carried the Savior of the world. What makes you chosen is not your resume but your surrender. You did not choose this assignment. Heaven chose you. And that is why the weight of your life feels different. That is why your warfare has felt so intense. It was never just about you. Every battle you fought was training for a reach that extends far beyond your immediate surroundings. It was spoken in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Oh, this is not just a poetic phrase. It is your reality. Your life is a city on a hill, designed to be seen from afar. Light cannot be hidden, and neither can your destiny, the crown you carry, the mark you bear, the authority you walk in. It will not remain confined. It will spill out, shining across borders, across cultures, across nations. Do not confuse global with glamorous. The world teaches that global influence means fame, wealth, or power. But heaven defines it differently. To influence nations is to carry truth, to bring healing, to release hope where despair has been entrenched. Your influence may not always come through stages or spotlights. Sometimes it flows quietly through words spoken in love, prayers whispered in faith, content that travels farther than your feet ever could. Heaven does not measure impact by applause, but by transformation. Chosen one. Understand this. Every seed you sow, every act of obedience, every word you release is bigger than you think. A single message can awaken someone across the world. A single prayer can shift the destiny of a nation. A single act of kindness can ripple farther than you will ever know. You are not just living for your own story, you are shaping the stories of countless others. That is why your preparation was so heavy. Nations cannot rest on weak shoulders. Global assignments cannot be carried by shallow roots. You were pressed deeper because your reach will extend wider. You were refined longer because your influence will last longer. You were trained harder because the mission ahead requires resilience that cannot be shaken. And here is something profound. You are not alone in this. Heaven never sends a chosen one into global impact without aligning divine connections. There are people across the earth whose paths will intersect with yours. Some will strengthen you. Some will learn from you. Some will carry your voice farther than you ever could. This is how heaven builds networks, threads of destiny, woven together across nations. So do not despise your uniqueness. The very qualities that set you apart in your local circle are the qualities the nations are waiting for. What some mocked as too much will be exactly what others are desperate to receive. The language of your spirit will translate across borders because it is not bound by culture, it is birthed in heaven. Chosen one. Imagine this. Every trial you overcame, every lesson you learned, every scar you carry, these are not just personal trophies. They are messages, testimonies, tools that will equip others across the globe. The comfort you received in your wilderness will become the comfort you extend to strangers on the other side of the world. The wisdom you gained in silence will become a compass for people you may never meet in person. Lift your eyes higher. You were not called to a corner, you were called to the world. The same God who counted your tears has nations in mind for your voice. The same God who preserved you in storms intends to use your survival as a beacon for many. The same God who crowned you in hidden places will reveal you in public arenas. And yes, this will require courage. Nations will not be moved by timid voices. But take heart, the authority is already on you. The mantle is already yours. The fire has already been tested in you. What you carry is not small, and neither is your reach. So let your heart expand. Chosen one, what you have lived through was never just for you. The lessons, the anointing, the fire, the resilience, they were always for nations. Your assignment is global. Your influence is inevitable. And heaven itself will see to it that your light cannot be hidden. Chosen one, you need to understand why the battle over your life has been so relentless. The resistance has not been random. The warfare has not been meaningless. It has been intentional, targeted, and fierce, because your destiny poses a direct threat to the kingdom of darkness. From the moment heaven marked you, the enemy marked you as well. Hell does not sit idly when a chosen one arises. Every scheme, every trap, every whisper of despair was designed with one goal: to break your spirit before your crown could rest on your head. Yet here you are, wounded but unbroken, scarred but still standing, weary yet carrying a fire that refuses to die. This war has been both external and internal. Externally, you faced opposition from people, from circumstances, from doors that slammed shut without reason. Internally, you wrestled with doubt, fear, anxiety, and the temptation to quit. Sometimes the external battles were easier than the inner ones, because no enemy is louder than the one that whispers in the mind at midnight. And yet, even those inner storms could not drown you. It was declared in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, "They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. This is the secret of your survival. The blood of the Lamb has always covered you. Even when you did not feel worthy, even when you strayed, the covering remained. And your testimony, your persistence, your survival, your refusal to surrender has been a weapon sharper than you realize. Every time you spoke truth, every time you clung to hope, every time you chose faith over fear, you struck the enemy with blows that reverberated in the spirit. Chosen one. This is why your life has not been ordinary. Ordinary lives do not require extraordinary warfare, but chosen ones carry destinies that ripple into eternity, and such destinies are fiercely contested. The fact that you have endured what you have is not evidence of weakness, it is evidence of your importance. Hell does not fight what does not threaten it. Look back and recognize it. The car accidents that missed you by inches, the illnesses that tried to consume you, the despair that tried to smother you, all of it was part of the war. Yet none of it succeeded. The weapons were real, but the word was stronger. The traps were set, but the seal on your life was greater. And here is the deeper truth: what the enemy intended for destruction, heaven has turned into training. The battles that nearly crushed you became classrooms. You learned endurance, patience, wisdom, discernment. You discovered the power of prayer, the strength of silence, the authority of the word. The war did not just attack you, it forged you. Think of it like iron in the fire. The flames do not destroy the iron, they harden it, sharpen it, prepare it for use. So it has been with you. The fire of battle has not left you brittle, it has left you unbreakable. That is why you now walk with a weight you did not carry before. That is why your words carry authority, why your presence unsettled darkness, why your faith shakes rooms. You were not destroyed in the war, you were equipped by it. Chosen one. Never again believe the lie that your suffering was wasted. The war over your life is the greatest confirmation of your destiny. The enemy fought you so fiercely because he knew what would happen if you rose. And now you are rising. This also explains why peace has often felt temporary. The war has been long, and at times you questioned whether you would ever truly rest. But remember, wars do not last forever. There comes a day when the trumpet sounds and the victory is revealed. That day is near for you. What once chased you will no longer find you. What once haunted, you will no longer have power. What once tried to silence, you will no longer speak. Chosen one. Lift your eyes beyond the battlefield. The war has been great because the destiny is greater. You are not just surviving, you are conquering. You are not just enduring, you are overcoming. And soon, the victory will be undeniable. Not only to you, but to everyone who ever doubted. The war over your life is the backdrop to the glory about to be revealed. Your scars will shine as proof of survival. Your voice will thunder as proof of victory. Your destiny will unfold as proof that heaven always wins. So take heart. Do not grow weary in the fight. Remember that every battle you face is confirmation that you carry something worth fighting for. And when the final chapter of this war is written, it will not be about how hard the enemy fought. It will be about how completely you overcame. Chosen one. You have hidden long enough. There is a time for silence. And there is a time for declaration. There is a time for wilderness. And there is a time for rising. Heaven is calling you now into boldness. You are not meant to stay in the shadows forever. The mantle you carry, the crown you wear, the fire you guard, it is time for the world to see it. For years, you walked carefully, afraid of what others might think, afraid of stirring conflict, afraid of being misunderstood. You dimmed your light so others would feel comfortable in their darkness. You silenced your voice so others would not feel challenged by your truth. But no more. This is the season when boldness must clothe you like armor. Boldness, chosen one, is not about volume, but about presence. It is the quiet strength of a mountain that cannot be moved, the steady flame of a lamp that refuses to go out. You rise not to impress, but to illuminate, not to dominate, but to deliver. Do not underestimate the ripple of one act of courage. A single step forward can shift generations. A single truth spoken can unravel years of lies. A single hand extended can pull someone from despair. Boldness is not for you alone. It is heaven's gift through you to the world, awaiting light. It was written in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The Lord is with you. This is not a suggestion, it is a command. You cannot rise timidly. You cannot walk in destiny while bowing to fear. You cannot carry a crown and still live like a slave. Boldness is not arrogance, it is obedience. Courage is not pride, it is trust. Chosen one. Rising boldly means speaking when your voice shakes, walking when your legs tremble, acting when your heart pounds. It means stepping into rooms you once felt unworthy to enter, because you finally know you do not walk alone. The Lord goes with you. The angels surround you. Heaven backs you. Now, let me speak from the heart. Spaces like this, these words you are receiving are not random encouragements. They are wells carved out in the desert. Places where chosen ones gather to drink and to strengthen one another. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not just interacting with a page, you are adding stones to the well, ensuring it stands tall for others who are still thirsty. Imagine someone wandering the desert of despair, stumbling across this well because you decided to keep it flowing. That is the power of your engagement. And for those who feel the pull to donate, see it like planting seeds into fertile ground. A farmer does not give away grain, he sows it. Trusting the soil will return a harvest far greater than what left his hand. Your giving is seed. It keeps the lamps burning, the wells flowing, the tables set for those who are starving for hope. Every drop of oil you pour sustains the flame that lights the path for others. But it is not only about sustaining the message, it is also about your bold declaration. Do not let this moment pass without marking it. You have hidden long enough. It is time to say with your life, I will not be silent anymore. Rise boldly in your own way, whether that is speaking your truth, living without shame, or sharing your story with someone who needs it. Boldness is contagious, and your step forward will inspire others to take theirs. So I ask you gently yet firmly, if this word resonates with your spirit, do more than just listen. Engage. Comment below, in your own words, what boldness means to you right now. Maybe it is, I choose courage. Maybe it is, no more fear. Maybe it is simply, I will rise. Whatever it is, let your comment be a declaration, not just typed words, but a spiritual echo, a prophetic act that seals this moment in your heart. Chosen one. The world is waiting. Heaven has already approved you. Darkness already fears you. What remains is your own decision to rise boldly, to step out of the shadows and into the calling that has been waiting for you all along. Do not hesitate. Do not retreat. Lift your head, steady your heart, and move forward. The crown fits. The mantle rests. The authority is yours. Rise boldly, for the Lord your God is with you. Chosen one. The journey you have walked has not been random, nor has it been meaningless. Every word spoken over you in the quiet places, every dream that stirred your spirit, every confirmation whispered through scripture and circumstance, they are now aligning. You are stepping into prophetic confirmation, where what was once only promised begins to manifest. Prophecy is not always a thunderous voice from the heavens. Often, it is a gentle thread, weaving through the tapestry of your life. You may not have recognized it at first, but now, as you look back, the threads connect. The closed doors, the sudden opportunities, the unexpected detours, they were all pieces of a pattern too vast to see in the moment. Now the pattern begins to reveal itself. It was written in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision waits, for the appointed time, though it tarry. Wait, it will surely come. It will not delay. This is the heartbeat of your story. The visions and words spoken over you were not empty. They were waiting for their appointed time. You thought delay meant denial, but it was simply preparation. Heaven does not rush, because heaven knows the exact hour when prophecy must bloom. Chosen one. Think about how many times you almost gave up, only to suddenly encounter a sign that reignited your faith. A stranger's word, a scripture that leapt off the page, a dream that echoed. Long after you awoke, these were not coincidences. They were confirmations. Heaven never let you drift too far without sending reminders of who you are and where you are headed. Now you are entering a season where confirmation will no longer come in fragments, but in fullness. The scattered puzzle pieces will click together, and the image will be clear. What others doubted, you will demonstrate. What once seemed like distant promise will become present reality. You will walk in what you once only dreamed. But understand this: prophetic confirmation is not simply about receiving, it is also about responsibility. When prophecy aligns, it demands action. Heaven will confirm your calling, but you must step into it. Doors will open, but you must walk through them. Opportunities will appear, but you must embrace them with courage. Prophecy fulfilled is not passive, it is participatory. Consider Joseph again. His dreams were confirmed through his rise in Egypt. But those dreams required his faithfulness in the pit, in Potiphar's house, and in prison. Consider David, anointed as king in his youth. Yet confirmation came years later, after trials, betrayals, and wilderness wanderings. Each prophetic word carried both promise and process. You, too, are called not only to receive, but to walk. And here lies the beauty. Heaven is not vague. When God confirms, He confirms clearly. You will see signs that cannot be denied. You will encounter alignments too precise to be chance. You will watch as what once seemed impossible unfolds step by step before your eyes. And with each confirmation, your faith will grow stronger, your boldness will deepen, your authority will expand. Do not despise the small confirmations. A whisper today may be the foundation for thunder tomorrow. A single open door may be the seed for an entire harvest. Prophetic fulfillment rarely explodes. Overnight it unfolds, layer upon layer, until suddenly you realize you are standing in the very promise you once only prayed for. Chosen one, let this bring peace to your heart. You do not need to force what heaven has already ordained. You do not need to chase what heaven has already aligned. You do not need to fear missing what heaven has secured for you. Prophetic confirmation does not depend on your striving, it depends on God's timing. And yet, prepare your spirit. When the confirmation comes, it will require you to rise, to act, to embrace the mantle without hesitation. You cannot shrink back when heaven declares, "Now is the time." Your obedience will be the bridge between promise and fulfillment. Look around you with fresh eyes. Listen with a sharpened ear. Pay attention to the whispers in Scripture, the nudges in prayer, the alignments in circumstances. These are not random, they are signs that the vision is near. Heaven is speaking, and heaven is confirming. Chosen one, the season of waiting is shifting into the season of unveiling. What was once hidden will be revealed. What was once delayed will be delivered. What was once promised will be performed. Prophetic confirmation is not coming, it is here, unfolding, even now. Chosen one, now comes the moment of unveiling the final revelation of who you truly are. All the whispers of destiny, all the glimpses of purpose, all the fragments of confirmation converge here. Heaven no longer hides you. Heaven reveals you. You are not just another face in the crowd, you are God's chosen one, carrying a destiny etched in eternity. For so long, your identity was contested. The world tried to label you with names that did not belong. Too weak, too strange, too broken, too much. The enemy whispered lies to cage your spirit. Unworthy, unlovable, forgotten. But none of those words were truth. They were attempts to bury what heaven had planted. The final revelation is this: you are chosen, crowned, sealed, and unstoppable. It is written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. These words are not distant, they are alive in you. You are not ordinary, you are royal. You are not forgotten, you are God's possession. You are not wandering in shadows, you are radiant in light. The revelation is not about becoming someone new, it is about finally recognizing who you have always been. Chosen one, your entire journey was designed to peel away the false layers until only truth remained. The crushing refined you, the separation prepared you, the training strengthened you, the battles confirmed you. Now heaven declares the fullness of your identity. You are a carrier of light, a vessel of glory, a warrior of eternity. This revelation brings freedom. You no longer need to measure yourself against others. You no longer need to explain your worth to those who cannot see it. You no longer need to hide your fire to make others comfortable. You are chosen, and that is enough. When heaven speaks a word, earth cannot undo it. And yet, This revelation also brings weight. To be unveiled means to be seen. To be seen means to be accountable. You are no longer hidden in preparation. You are revealed in purpose. Every step you take, every word you release, every act of obedience carries weight. You are not just living your story, you are shaping the stories of others. Do not let this frighten you. Let it empower you. The same God who revealed you is the God who sustains you. The same Spirit who whispered in secret will thunder through your life in public. The same hand that carried you through storms will steady you as you step into the spotlight of destiny. Look carefully at your scars. They are not blemishes to hide. They are proof of survival. Badges of honor. Testimonies of grace. Each scar tells a story. Of nights you thought you would break but didn't. Of battles you thought you lost but actually won. Of tears that watered seeds of faith. These scars are your crown jewels. They glisten with glory, testifying that the chosen cannot be crushed. Chosen one. The final revelation is not only for you, it is for the world. The world will see in you the reality of God's power. The broken will see healing. The lost will see direction. The weary will see hope. You are a living letter, written not with ink but with spirit, declaring that heaven still chooses, still redeems, still crowns. This is why your life had to be so different. This is why you never fit the mold. This is why the fire could not consume you. You were never meant to be hidden forever. You were always meant to be revealed. And now, heaven has lifted the veil. Stand in this truth. Speak from this truth. Walk in this truth. You are no longer defined by wounds. You are defined by victory. You are no longer shadowed by shame. You are clothed in honor. You are no longer silenced by fear. You are empowered by boldness. You are chosen. And this is the final revelation. Chosen one. Let these words settle deeply. This is who you are. This is who you have always been. And this is who you will forever remain, God's chosen one. Unveiled for such a time as this. Chosen one. As this journey closes, let the words linger in your spirit. You have walked through the fire of revelation, step by step, uncovering truths that were always yours, but often hidden. You began unsure, questioning, wrestling with silence and shadow. Now you stand unveiled, crowned, marked, confirmed, and unstoppable. Do not let the echo of old lies drown the sound of this truth. You are not who pain said you were. You are not who fear tried to make you. You are not who the enemy accused you of being. You are who God has declared you to be chosen, beloved, set apart. The path ahead will still hold challenges. Being chosen does not erase storms, but it does guarantee survival. You will face resistance, but now you know resistance only confirms destiny. You will encounter trials, but you also know trials only refine the crown. And when doubts return, you have the memory of these words. You passed. You endured. You overcame. Carry this identity like a torch. Let it burn in the darkest nights. Let it shine when others cannot see their way. Let it remind you daily that heaven has written your name, not in fragile ink, but in eternal fire. Beloved, walk with boldness, live with faith, shine with unshakable light. You are God's chosen one, and your story has only just begun.